Today, I'm going to show you how to turn your Figma designs into React code with the Tailwind CSS framework. You no longer need to code each individual design element and component because it's kind of a thing of the past. So for today's tutorial, we're going to be using Dwise. It's a new platform that will convert our Figma designs into clean, human-readable React code. Dwise also allows you to create reusable React components with its visual editor. And finally, when there are changes made in Figma, you can sync those changes and turn them into code with just one click. Let's take a closer look. Today I'm building a web app for online design and development courses. And here I have this Figma file that our designer has sent us. We have multiple pages over here. And before we rush into importing this Figma design into Dwise, I want to make sure that each individual page follows some basic design guidelines. For example, each page needs to be its own frame. And then we want to also name each individual group, for example, the header over here, the hero section, appropriately. This is a crucial part of the designer-developer handoff. And we want to invest maybe 15 to 30 minutes to clean up our Figma designs so that we can save us tons of time down the line. Next up, let's go to Dwise and create a free account. Let's choose this option to build a web app from a Figma design. The name is Coursed, Technology React, language JavaScript, design system, I'll pick Tailwind CSS. And let's paste our Figma URL. I'm going to click share, grab the link and paste it here. Dwise automatically recognizes these 7 screens. I'm going to select all of them and get them imported. Let's click submit. Now our Figma designs are being converted automatically. All of the assets are going to get categorized, all of the images, fonts, and reusable components imported, and so much more. Let's go ahead and set up the app. Meta title is going to be Coursed. I'm going to import a favicon. There it is. Click next. Next up, we get to pick a build tool. There are 4 options for us to choose from. For fast dev speed and performance, you can choose white. For my case, I want to choose Create React App Framework. Let's click next. And by the way, you can push your code in different versions of it directly to a GitHub repo. Let's click on OK and get started. And just like that, there are hundreds of individual elements that were automatically identified and classified and turned into code. For example, we have 100 buttons right there, 460 text elements, 85 images. Imagine doing all of this by hand. Let's click on Get Started. And we're dropped into the visual editor. First of all, you can navigate between pages by clicking on this drop-down menu over here and choose the page that you want to edit. Here on the left-hand side, we have the layout tree with the code structure. We have a number of different divs over here, as you can see. Here, for example, we have the hero section, individual elements inside. Then we have these buttons. They were automatically categorized as such. And on the right-hand side, we have attributes of individual elements, and we can make changes very easily in this visual interface. For example, if you want to increase the font size, let's click on typography and set the font size to 16. We'll need to do the same for this button. You can also change the padding and the margins and pretty much anything you will be able to do in code. Next up, I want to show you how to create reusable components. If you click on Smart Suggestions, for example, you will see that there are a number of components that were automatically identified. Let's check them out. So it says that this navbar can be a component. This is true, it can be a component. The next suggestion is this card. Okay, here we have individual course cards. Let's see what else. Testimonials, pricing. Okay. Sounds good. So out of all of those recommended options, I want to create a component out of these course cards. I'm going to choose the card element over here. And then let's go to component and create a new component. Automatically, we can give it a name such as course. And inside we have all of these individual properties. For example, this image, let's give it a name. We're going to call it meta image. This element will be duration, level beginner. John Smith is the course creator. That's the name of the course name. Then we have the description and the button. I'm going to click on create component. And here's the best part. Dwise automatically recognized that there are 5 similar course cards on this page so we can turn all of them into components. Check this out. All of the scorecards are now reusable React components. I can check out the code, generate code. Here in line number 3, we're importing the course component from our components folder. And then once we generate code, all of those individual elements are going to be replaced with a variable. It's time for us to make this website responsive. If you remember, our designer sent us only desktop files. Now we need to figure out how to turn them into a mobile-friendly file. Luckily for us, Dwise has already done this, and we can flip through the desktop version, the tablet version, and the mobile version over here, and we can make changes. For example, this navbar, I don't really like it. I'm going to click on Show None and hide it. We can make changes to text. For example, this looks like pretty massive text for a mobile interface. I'm going to type 26 pixels for this element, change this subheading, make it 18, for example. Here we have the buttons. I'm going to choose the div above, and I want to stack them differently. So let's go for vertical alignment, and now it looks better. This way, on tiny screens, these buttons do not get crammed. Let's scroll down a little bit, looks good. And there we have the testimonial section, and we want to make a number of fixes. For example, for the testimonial itself, there is no spacing here on the side. So I'm going to go ahead and add some padding on the side, 15 pixels from the left and 15 pixels from the right. Next up, we have the person and the button. There is also no spacing. We can pick the element above over here and align vertically one more time. See how it looks? It looks all right, but it does take quite a bit of space. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to align these two elements horizontally and justify them like this. Okay, now it's way better. But there is a little issue. The changes were applied only to this first card and not to the rest of the testimonial cards. So what we want to do is we want to pick this upper element over here, right click it, and create a new component from that. Let's call it testimonial, add some properties, just like that, and create the component. That looks perfect, and we have all of the following 4 testimonials formatted accurately. We've improvised and created a mobile-friendly version, and now it's time for us to send it to somebody who has a pixel-perfect eyesight, our designer. And there is an easy way for us to do this. You can click on this icon. There we have it. This is exactly how our website would look like if we were to download code at this point of time. The designer will be able to flip through individual screens over here and pick different formats like tablet and mobile. Okay, looks good to me. Click on the share button, copy the link, and send it to your designer in Slack. By this point, the designer came back to us and said that you're an absolute superstar, and I have no idea how you did all of this stuff in just 30 minutes. But the copywriter realized that there is a mistake. And instead of us fixing that mistake in code, we can actually fix that mistake in Figma. So next up, I want to show you how to sync design changes into code changes. And it's super easy and a lot easier than you think. Let's go ahead and change text over here, unlock my creative potential, for example, just like that. And then I can go ahead and click on this drop down and sync changes from the current screen. Let's click refresh. Okay, it took a couple of minutes, and there we have our copy change right there. And by the way, the best part is that all of the components that we've created just earlier, they've remained. Here they go. And if we flip back to our mobile version, there we have it. It hasn't changed. From there, I'll go through the other 6 pages, create new components, make the designs responsive, and when ready, I'm going to click on this big, beautiful green button called Build App to generate our code. Okay, and that's it. Here we have our code. I'm going to download the code from there. You can create a new repository to track changes. or you can just download all of the code as one zip file. That's what I'm going to choose for this use case. Here we have the README file with the instructions on how to deploy this code, the folder structure, and inside the SRC folder, we have our individual pages, individual components, etc. Let's go ahead and check it out. So for the assets, we have components over here. For example, remember testimonials? There we have that file right there. And we're importing all of the properties such as review text and the user image, etc. We have the same for course cards over here. We have individual pages like our homepage that we just created earlier. And as you can see, here we're importing individual components such as courses, the footer, testimonials. Let's move on from pages to styles. We have our fonts, the index file, and Tailwind CSS. Looks good to me. Let's see if this code actually runs. I'm going to create a new terminal and type npm start. Okay, and there we have it. Let's navigate to homepage laptop, and there we have it. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your new Figma to React workflow. Until next time, cheers.